Hi everyone. I'm literally filming this on against my window on my phone, so pardon any of the echoey noises that you may hear. But I just wanted to make this video to really just verbal process everything that has been going on in my life since this past year, since I graduated high school and even in my senior year of high school. For those who do know me, you know that YWAM, or Youth with a Mission, was not a part of my plan by any means, and if I were still to choose, it probably wouldn't be any part of my plan, but it was something that the Lord really needed me to do, and I'm thankful for it now, that I am graduated and I've seen the growth that I needed to do. However, if you do know me, you know that I was going to go to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles, California, and study merchandising and marketing, and I was on the path to become a buyer. I had internships already lined up. I was going to be a social ambassador for the school. I just had, in my mind, every thing seemed perfect, and it seemed like the Lord was orchestrating it all together. And however, he just really needed to pause all of that, or maybe just completely end it. I still don't know if it was a pause or an end. But anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to make this video to explain why I didn't go, to answer just a lot of your questions, and for me just to look back on, to remind my soul of the Lord's faithfulness and goodness. Before I do this, the Lord speaks to us in ways that are relatable to us. Like when he speaks to a farmer in the Bible, he'll use farming or harvesting analogies, and that's how he speaks to them, and that's how they understand. And for me, starting my junior year of high school, my relationship with the Lord was not my number one priority, and it wasn't, it just wasn't my number one priority, and it was something that I put on the back burner for a really long time, and it was oh, I need God in this, so I'm gonna go read my Bible really quick and get right with the Lord, and then just forget about it until I need him again. But that's just not how he works, and that's not the relationship he wanted with me. So when I say that he speaks to us in ways that are relatable to us, I mean that I was spending all of my time on social media, and whether it's Facebook or YouTube, Instagram, literally all of it had consumed my time. And I didn't think it was anything wrong necessarily, because I would be following Christian accounts and I would be posting about the Lord, every now and then. But God had to speak to me through social media for me to remember. I don't know, I've heard God's voice before. I know when he speaks to me, and it had just been so long since I have. So he just had, social media was the only way he could reach me. And to some people that may sound crazy. To me, it makes sense. But anyway, starting in January of my senior year, I started seeing these ads on Facebook for YWAM, or Youth of the Mission, Montana Lakeside. And for those who don't know, my parents did Youth of the Mission, Elm Springs, Arkansas, and they were part of the organization for 7 years. My brother Gabe did his in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and he was a part of it for 2 or 3 years. And then my brother Timmy recently finished his UTS in August in Louisville, Kentucky, and then I did mine in Yosemite. So YWAM, or Youth of the Mission, is not something that was foreign to me. It was something that I knew, and it was something that I appreciated. I knew that YWAM changed my parents' lives, and I literally wouldn't be here today if it weren't for YWAM. Also God. But and my brothers wouldn't be where they are today if it weren't for YWAM, and same with me. Back in January, I started seeing these ads for YWAM Montana Lakeside, and I didn't think anything of it because I am friends with multiple YWAMers on my Facebook page, and I had talked about it, and you know how Facebook kind of records you sometimes, and you just get ads based on what you talk about. That was just what I thought of it, and so I didn't think anything of it for the first few times I saw the ad for YWAM Montana. And then I started seeing ads on Instagram and even on Time Hop. And the Time Hop ones really confused me. But anyway, I just started seeing all of these ads specifically for the Montana base. And if you know anything about YWAM, it's that they have 1,500 bases in the entire world. And so for the same one to be consistently on my mind, I knew something was up, and I just didn't know what. And so I remember one day, after 2 months of seeing these ads from like January and February, I was so sick of it. I remember throwing my phone on my bed, and I kind of shouted. It was like internal because I live in a family of 10, so I wasn't gonna like really shout, but I shouted in my heart, like, God, if you're changing my plans, it's a no from me. I'm sorry, but no, I am not doing YWAM. I've told you my entire life I don't want to do it. I don't want to go through the same financial struggles that I've seen other people go through because of YWAM. But obviously the Lord provides. But like all of those types of things, and I just told God no. And he more or less just laughed at me, and I continue to see those ads on Facebook and on Instagram, Twitter, literally everywhere, and it was starting to be like really frustrating because I had planned to go to FIDM literally since I was 15 years old, and I had done everything I needed to go to get there. The school itself gave me $10,500 in scholarships. I got accepted my junior year. I was going to be a social ambassador and all of these things. So I was like, God, why would you change my plans when you clearly did all of this for me? And so I just ignored it because I didn't want to come to terms with it. It's kind of like, you know, when you're like getting sick, and then, you know, if you say you're sick, then you're actually gonna get sick. It was like that for me. I knew I was supposed to do this after seeing 2 months of ads just specifically for Montana, and I was like, no, if I say anything out loud, I have to do it. I'm not going to do it. And so 2 months after I saw the ads, my brother Timmy comes home, or I come home. I really don't remember how it happened, but I heard him say that he wanted to do DTS in Louisville, Kentucky. And so this was like in March when he decided to go. And I remember being like, God, are you serious? Like another YWAM thing? I don't want to do this. And after that, like a month after he went, I started talking to my friend that I hadn't talked to in like so long. And she told me that she was going to go work at a Christian camp over the summer in Montana. And I was like, oh, that's like not YWAM, but it's still Montana. Like God is definitely getting my attention, but I don't want to think anything of it. And so, like I said, I just see these ads everywhere, and it's like making me more mad than anything. I didn't pray about it because I just didn't want to hear what God had to say. I didn't want to like lay my dreams down, and I didn't want to surrender anything. But then over the summer, it really killed me. I just knew that's what I needed to do, but I didn't tell a soul that I was seeing all of these ads. I didn't tell a soul that like I think God might be changing my plans. I didn't tell anybody, and I don't think I even really told myself. I just didn't want to come to terms with it with myself because like I just didn't want to, you know? And then the day before I was going to go take out my loans for school, for FIDM, I saw everything was just killing me. I don't even know. It was frustrating me to no ends. I was so busy at camp. I was doing all of these things, and the Lord was speaking to me, but I didn't want to hear him. So my relationship over the summer with God wasn't even like, it still wasn't number one, and I was working at a Christian camp. I mean, obviously the Lord changed all of that now, but like, it was still like, So anyway, I was gonna go take out my loans for FIDM on a Tuesday, and it was the week of juniors too. And my friend Taylor was at camp, and I knew the last time I talked to her, and her husband, who also did YWAM in like Pittsburgh, when the last time I talked to them, I like fasted, and literally what I read from the Bible was exactly what they told me. And so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna tell them, and then maybe something will happen. So I talked to Taylor about it, and she told me two different things. She said that, you know, Serena, you could go to college and that's fine, and you could go to YWAM and that's good, and I don't think either choice is going to be bad. She said the Lord would speak and do great things in both ways, but sometimes God, and then she just like talked about how like God gives her choices in life, and she's the one that makes the choice, and like God puts both of them out on the table. And so I said, okay, like, okay. And she said, sorry if that doesn't really help you, that's just how God speaks to me. And so I said, okay, like I'll think about it, and then maybe I'll tell my dad everything that had been happening to me since then. And as literally she left, I turned my phone on, and it was open to a blog that I do not remember clicking. God. And the title of the blog was, I don't even remember the title, but the blog essentially said that God gives us choices in life, and we need to rejoice when he gives us a choice because he thinks we're mature enough to make them. And you'll never guess who posted the blog. It was YWAM Montana Lakeside, and so I freaked out. I don't remember if I screamed or what, but I remember where I was when I read it, and I was literally like, what the heck? Obviously God is like, I know what choice I need to make. And so I make the choice. Okay, God, I'm going to do what you want me to do. And so I was like, I think I'm going to go to YWAM. But like I said, there are 1,500 bases in the world, and I didn't know if Montana was the one. I definitely believe that because God chose the same base to keep popping up, it was all him. And so that's like the way it grabbed my attention the most, because if it was just tons of them, I probably wouldn't have really thought anything of it. But anyway, so I go home. Or I don't go home. I go to my dad's church, like in his office, and I'm about to take out the $27,000 loan that I still needed to pay for FIDM. And I was about to hit okay. Like, it was right there. All I needed to do was to hit okay, and I wouldn't have to talk about YWAM ever again. I wouldn't have to do anything in regards to YWAM again, and it would be fine. But I just could not bring myself to hit okay. And my dad was like, Serena, like, what's going on? Why can't you do this? Like, this is literally the only thing you've been talking about since you were 15. And as soon as he like said that, I just started bawling, and it was like word vomit. I just told him every single thing that had been happening to me and how the Lord was speaking to me. And it was really, it felt so freeing to finally share. It just felt so good to finally let it all out to my dad. And I was so afraid that his opinion was going to be biased because he did YWAM, and he doesn't like going into debt for school, and, you know, just all of that. And, he, after I, like, word vomited everything, he just, like, he verbally said, if I was just your pastor right now and not your dad, I would definitely tell you that the Lord is speaking to you or trying to get your attention in one way or another. And I was like, yeah, obviously he is. And I said, but Dad, like, I just need somebody to tell me that I don't have to go to college. And if somebody tells me that I don't have to go, then I won't. I just need somebody else to tell me. But I don't want to feel like I'm letting everyone down, and I don't want to feel like I'm letting myself down for wasting all of this time and energy on this one school. And then we just talked for a long time, and I told him how I just never wanted to be like in financial struggle, and how I just really wanted to pursue the American dream and just be like all for that, and just like make my life and live it in more abundance than the life that I have now. And my dad, he totally understood, and I'm so glad that he was my pastor in the moment and not my dad, because I was afraid that my dad would just be so biased. But he just, I don't even remember everything he told me, but when he just said, like, you don't have to go, I give you permission to not go to school, it was like I could breathe again for the first time since I was 15. And it was so much tension and so much, I don't even know, so many things were just released off of my shoulders and released in me spiritually. It was so good for me. And then apparently my sister was in the room the entire time that I was talking to my dad, and I had no idea. And my dad was like, well, Lily, what do you think of all of this? And I was like, wait, why is Lily in here? How did she get here? And she said, you can literally always go to college. there are people like in their 30s that go to school, and she said, FIDM is always going to be there, but if God's telling you to do something, you have to do it now. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Sorry. And so my dad said, go on Facebook and tell us what you see. And the very first thing I see was our friends from YWAM Colorado Springs were in YWAM Kona, Hawaii. And so I was like, oh my gosh, of course, like another YWAM thing is what I see. And then I scrolled 2 more times, and it was a blog from YWAM Montana, and it said, are you willing to pause if God asks? And it was literally what Lily had said in just a blog. And I was like, oh my gosh. So my dad said, read it out loud. And so I did, through all the tears. I don't think he understood anything. I don't think Lily understood anything. And then as soon as I was done reading it, somebody from YWAM Louisville, Kentucky walks into my dad's office, and I think I dropped my phone. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, of course this is what I need to do. And then my dad was like, LOL, literally, where can you run from his presence? And I was like, freaking nowhere. And then, well, anyway, I was debating between Montana, of course, Colorado Springs, because I knew some of the staff there, and then Yosemite National Park. And I had a friend that, like an old friend that had went to Yosemite the year prior, and she was staff at the point, and her and I hadn't talked in like 4 years. And so the next day, after I decided, yes, Lord, I'll do YWAM, I'll do a DTS, like a discipleship training school, I messaged her like the next day, and I said, hey, I know we haven't talked in like forever, but is Yosemite like a base that you recommend? I might be considering it, maybe, like, is it good? I don't know. And she responded back, oh my gosh, all day yesterday, which is the day that I decided to say yes to the Lord, she said she was thinking about me and that she does recommend Yosemite, and she invited me to go. And just because we hadn't talked in like 4 years, it meant the world to me. I don't even know, I just like, her invite, I was just like, yes, like, of course, yes. And then, I don't know, this video isn't to describe everything that happened during DTS or like lecture phase or outreach phase. This is just to say why I didn't go to college and how the Lord spoke to me through social media when I wasn't listening anywhere else. Obviously now I'm like right before the Lord, and like we're still figuring things out, but yeah, this is why I didn't go to school. If you were curious, this is a really long video. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch it, but here it is. And then if not, this is just something that I'll continue to look back on to remind my soul, just like Psalm 77 talks about. But I don't even know how to say goodbye. Well, bye. Bye.